Well, good morning, my friends. Welcome to Live Inspired with John O'Leary. A quote that I love is that until you treat everyone as an equal, you have no right to complain about the treatment that you receive from anyone. That quote came to my mind from this past weekend as the tragedy unfolded and the clarity around the tragedy unfolded from Virginia. The peaceful march that then had a car drive through it, injuring and killing people, ruining lives, tearing apart a community, and in some regards, tearing apart a nation one more time. I'm a St. Louis guy. We've had our own struggles and challenges racially and tensions around it here in this community, but it's also tension that I think we've had not only around various cities and counties and communities around the United States, but around our entire global community. These tensions of seeing others as being somehow less than equal, somehow less than we are, somehow different, and because of them being a little bit different, we are able to look down upon them. All of this comes into play as I look back onto an experience of being burned as a little boy and recovering from those burns as a little boy. I spent 5 months in the hospital, and during that time, the first several weeks, I spent tied down to a bed, unable to move, unable to breathe on my own, unable to communicate, but also unable to see. And in the darkness of my childhood, I received profoundly outstanding care. As a little boy, though, I had no idea that my primary doctor was an immigrant from Armenia. He was Armenian by birthright. He was he was burned as a little boy himself, and he was the chief surgeon in charge of my care. I had no idea, of course, that his understudy was born in Italy, grew up somewhere in Portugal, came over to the United States, learned his medicine, learned his craft, and was able to breathe life and possibility back into this little boy. I had no idea that my main janitor, a guy named Lavelle, was African American. Had no idea, of course, that one of my favorite nurses to be, a guy named Nurse Roy, was also African American. I had no idea that some of the nurses had, in quotes, alternative lifestyles. I had no idea who was married or who wasn't, where they worshiped or where they chose not to worship. I had no idea really about the color, the tone, the background, the heritage of any of my caregivers. What I knew as a little boy is I needed them all. What I knew as a little boy and what we knew as a family is we could not do this by ourselves. What we knew as a family is that we were better together. We weren't judging people for how they showed up or what they looked like. We were grateful for the fact that they came. Just like my dog just ran over here. Grateful for the chance that they were coming into our lives to serve someone else. In looking back on that treatment, looking back on that care, looking back on that love, I realize now also that I wasn't the only one not judging. They weren't judging me. They weren't judging me for my skin color. They weren't judging me for my birthright. They weren't judging me for my citizenship. They weren't judging me for my faith heritage. They were treating and healing and curing and loving a little boy desperately in need of it. And my friends, today, as we recover again from another tragic event, this one now in Virginia, we can choose to view others just only through our lens of elitism, our lens of always being right, our lens of judging, or we can choose to view others through the lens of love, the lens of understanding, the lens of compassion, the lens of realizing that together we are better, not only as a community, not only as a country, but as a global marketplace of one. So for this time, and until next time, this is a fired up John O'Leary reminding you that this is your day. Live inspired.